There is a kind of person the world simply cannot rattle. Bad news arrives, plans collapse, someone insults them in public, and their face does not even change. It is not that nothing touches them. It is that they learned long ago how to meet chaos without becoming chaos themselves. Almost 2,000 years ago, a group of thinkers built a method for exactly this kind of calm. One ruled an empire through plague and endless war. One was a former slave who taught from a rented room. One was ordered by his own emperor to end his life and did so without panic. All three face circumstances far worse than anything on your calendar this week, and all three remain steady. Tonight, I will give you the rules that let a person stay calm no matter what happens. And the last rule, the one I am saving until the very end, is the one that turns all the others into a habit instead of an idea. Learn it, and very little in this life will ever be able to shake you again. So breathe, and let us begin. The philosophy is called Stoicism, and its central discovery is almost embarrassingly simple. It is never the event itself that disturbs you. It is the story you tell yourself about the event. Two people can lose the same job, hear the same insult, sit in the same traffic, and one of them is furious while the other stays at peace. The circumstance was identical, only the response was different. This means the calm you are chasing was never outside of you, waiting to be found. It was inside you the whole time, waiting to be trained. Panic is not a personality, it is a habit, and every habit can be replaced with a better one. Here are the 6 rules that will teach you to stay calm, no matter what happens. The first rule comes from Epictetus, a man enslaved for years before he ever taught a single student. Men are disturbed, he said, not by things, but by the opinions they hold about them. A canceled flight is not painful by itself. Your belief that it ruined the day is what causes the pain. A harsh email is only ink and pixels. Your judgment that it means something about your worth is what stings. Once you see this, you gain a strange kind of power. You cannot always choose what happens, but you can always choose the verdict you hand down about it. Before you spiral, ask one honest question. Is this actually a disaster, or have I simply labeled it one? Most of what wrecks your peace on an average day is not the event. It is the story you told about the event in the first 90 seconds after it happened. Change the verdict, and the same fact stops being able to hurt you. This is not a trick to talk yourself out of real problems. It is a discipline, practiced daily, until the gap between event and reaction becomes second nature. Master this first rule, and the second one becomes possible. The second rule, between what happens to you and how you respond, there is a gap, and inside that gap lives your entire freedom. Most people skip straight past it. An insult lands, and the reaction fires before a single thought has a chance to form. The Stoics trained themselves to notice that gap and to live inside it, if only for a few seconds. Seneca advised counting before you speak in anger, because the first response is rarely the wise one. It is only the fastest one. A pause is not weakness. A pause is where your judgment gets to catch up with your emotion. The next time something strikes you, try this. Feel the urge to snap, and simply wait 3 breaths before you act on it. In that small space, panic loses its grip, and you get to choose who you want to be instead. The calmest people you know are not the ones who feel nothing. They are the ones who paused long enough to choose something better than the first reaction. The third rule draws a border, and almost all of your anxiety lives on the wrong side of it. Some things are within your power, your effort, your attitude, your choices, your response. Nearly everything else, other people, the economy, the weather, the past, is not. The Stoic learns to pour his energy only into the side of the border he actually controls. Worrying about what other people think of you is energy spent on the wrong side. Rehearsing an argument you cannot change is energy spent on the wrong side. Every minute you spend gripping something outside your control is a minute stolen from the one thing that is actually yours to shape, yourself. So ask, before the worry takes hold, is this mine to control? If it is not, set it down. If it is, go to work on it. This single boundary, drawn clearly and defended daily, is where most lasting calm is built. Guard that border, and the noise of the world stops being able to reach you. If this is landing on you tonight, subscribe so more of this steadiness can find its way back to you. And comment the word calm as a quiet promise to yourself about who you are becoming. The fourth rule is a mental exercise Marcus Aurelius returned to again and again. He called it the view from above. Picture your life from a great height, your city, your country, this entire spinning planet, growing smaller beneath you. From up there, the argument that ruined your morning looks impossibly small. So does the comment that stole your sleep last night. This is not meant to make your problems feel meaningless. It is meant to put them back into proportion. An emperor used this exercise while commanding an empire in the middle of war and plague to keep himself from being swallowed by any single crisis. Whenever something feels too large to survive, rise above it for a moment, even just in your mind, and watch it shrink back down to its true size. Most of what feels unbearable at ground level becomes bearable the instant you gain a little altitude. You do not need a mountaintop to practice this. Close your eyes for 10 seconds, picture the height, and let the crisis shrink in front of you. Practice this view often enough, and very little down here will ever feel too big for you again. The fifth rule is older than Stoicism itself, but the Stoics lived by it completely. Nothing lasts, not the good and not the bad. The Stoics practiced imagining loss in advance, not to grow morbid, but to grow grateful, and to remember that everything they held was borrowed, not owned. The job, the relationship, the body you have right now, all of it is on loan, and all of it will change. This truth cuts both ways, and that is exactly its power. The worst season of your life will pass, so will the best one. When you are suffering, remember, this will not last forever, and that alone can loosen its grip. When you are given something good, hold it a little more loosely and love it a little more fully, because you know it too is temporary. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each day that everything is change, and it is this very impermanence that should calm you, not frighten you. A river never holds the same water twice, and yet it is still called a river. Your life is the same. The details change, and still you remain. Nothing that shakes you today is built to stay. Remember that, and you can weather almost anything. Now understand this clearly, because it is so often misunderstood. Staying calm does not mean you stop feeling things. It does not mean pretending the pain is not there. The Stoics grieved, feared, and loved as deeply as anyone who has ever lived. The difference was never the absence of feeling. It was that the feeling did not get to drive. Calm is not the death of emotion. It is emotion with a steady hand still on the wheel. And that brings us to the sixth rule, the one I saved for last, the one that turns everything else into a habit instead of an idea. Before you speak, before you react, before you decide what this moment means, breathe. One slow breath will not fix your circumstances, but it is often the entire difference between a reaction you regret and a response you are proud of. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events, and that realizing this is where your strength begins. The breath is where that power actually lives. It is the smallest possible pause, and it is available to you in literally every moment of your life. Use it in traffic. Use it in an argument. Use it the instant bad news reaches you. One breath, then the question, what is actually in my control right now? Then act only on the answer. This is the same breath a soldier takes before battle, and the same breath a parent takes before answering a child for the third time. It works everywhere, because the mind that breathes is the mind that remembers it, has a choice. Do this enough times, on enough ordinary days, and it stops being a technique. It becomes who you are. That is the whole secret. Not a mind that never gets shaken, but a mind that has trained itself to return to stillness every single time. 6 rules. The event is never the enemy. Your judgment is. Pause before you react. Guard the border of what you actually control. Rise above your problems until they shrink back to their true size. Remember that nothing, good or bad, is built to last. And breathe before you decide what any of it means. You were not born anxious. You were born, and then the world taught you to react before you think. That habit can be unlearned, the same way it was learned. Start with one rule, practice it tomorrow, then the next, until stillness becomes simply how you move through the world. The calmest people you have ever met were not handed peace at birth. They built it, one breath, one pause, one honest judgment at a time, exactly like you can starting today. Before you go, if this gave you something to hold on to, subscribe, tap the like button, and comment the word calm. And send this to someone who is fighting to stay steady right now. These words may be exactly what helps them hold the line tonight. Breathe, guard your judgments, and let the world do what it will. You are becoming someone it can no longer shake.